Welcome to another edition of Over It. I'm your topographical host, Michael English. Today is May 27th, 2022, and I am joined by three very special women in my life. They are Carolyn Tolpo, an artist, and whose home we are conducting this interview in. To her left, we have Evonne Inglesh, a corporate attorney and who's Carolyn's daughter-in-law. And thirdly, representing the youth of this nation, we have Amanda Inglesh, also an attorney. Amanda is Evonne's daughter as well as Carolyn's granddaughter. So, three generations, each responding to a series of simple and not so simple questions, hoping to spark more of a conversation than a question and answer interview. It is a first for us here at Over It, and we're very excited to get started. First off, I want to state that we are recording this interview in Shawnee, Colorado, at the home and art studios of Carolyn and her husband, Vince Tolpo. Together, they have been known as Shawnee Mountain Gallery Studios and Shawnee Mountain Pottery for nearly 45 years. Shawnee is a very small mountain hamlet located about 55 miles southwest of Denver, along the 285 corridor between Bailey and Fairplay. For you music fans, we are just up the road from the world-famous outdoor amphitheater, Red Rocks. When you stand in the center of town, geographically, you have the North Fork of the South Platte River raging down the mountain from the west to the east towards Denver. Although it is late in May, I can still see snow on the top of Mount Logan out our window to the west. Topographically speaking, we are just about 8,200 feet above sea level. Let's get started. Amanda, I'll start with the youngest first. What age was it when you decided to move away from your mom and dad?
Well, I first counted as 18, going to college in Ann Arbor. But I think the most recent time I left your home at 25 was probably the bigger move, more permanent.
Okay, 25.
Because I did return after college for a few years.
You can return anytime you want.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So for me, I was, how old are you when you're like a junior in college, right? Because my first 2 years, I lived at home. I went to Loyola University and then stayed away for a couple years and then went back home after college, and then maybe my second year of law school, I moved out.
When did you move out of your house?
I moved out when I was 18.
This is Carolyn Tolpo?
Carolyn Tolpo. And I went away to school to Eastern Michigan, and after a year I went back down to Wayne State in Detroit, where I had an apartment with friends, and I was pretty much gone permanently, but I could go back and forth if I had to.
You were close enough to home?
Yeah.
Amanda, were you close enough to go back? How many times did you go back and forth after that first year of living away?
I'm still in that first year living away, I would say.
The official first year, okay.
But I go back often. Some people think I go back too often, some of my friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
I think I see you guys a lot. Not too often, but more so than...
Oh, well, my family left when I was 20. Left the state,
right.
So I was really on my own then.
They went down to Florida, or where were they?
They moved to Florida, and then I got married while they were there, or they came back for the wedding. And so I was gone, really. Summers I'd come home when I was working in the city, but I was pretty much
A lot more independent earlier on. Yeah.
Carolyn, how old were you when you got married?
22.
22. Evonne, how old were you?
27.
27. And we're sitting in between a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
26-year-old.
26, sorry, correction.
Yeah, we were 5 years. We didn't have kids right away. 5 years, so I didn't have a man until I was 33. Yeah.
So the grandma, the grandchild, and the reason for grandchildren was sitting right here in front of me. So thank you for all of that.
Oh.
Thank you for surviving each other, and thank you for babysitting all those times. And Mom and Dad wanted to just get away. And those were some good times.
Those were some business trips too when I was away. Mom came to help.
And when did you, Amanda, consider yourself a grown-ass woman?
Oh. Well, in my notes I say not yet.
Not yet.
But I think probably right now is the most grown up I've ever felt. I think that would make sense.
Your brain is fully formed when you're 25, so that's probably why you're feeling it right now.
And at 25, all the things were happening for me: moving out, graduating law school,
Job.
job.
New apartment.
Just
for the
yeah,
first
new
time?
apartment and my own, just like not just an apartment in college, like my
Yeah.
apartment with a career
Yeah.
in New York, you know. So.
And but you're living with somebody
From college.
that you didn't have any siblings, so that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that plays into the whole thing too.
They've always been like my siblings, Mom. My roommates and siblings.
Well, that's what I said the other day. I said, I'm not your friend. Well, I am your friend, but I'm first your mom. Okay,
Yes.
so
You always
So-
will be.
so no
You never
attitude there,
will
young
be
lady.
Yeah.
Without a mom.
What made you feel grown up at first, Evonne? Was it
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't really. It took me a while to feel more grown up. Probably in my 40s, really. I mean, older, because I just always felt somehow displaced, even though I had an apartment, a child, a husband.
Say again why you didn't think so.
I've always just felt more displaced.
Displaced means what?
Not feeling permanently anywhere. Yeah,
Oh, because
like-
you were moving around?
No, and also just that's
Things
my
could still
personality.
things
Your,
could still
your
change.
life was
Yeah.
moving around a lot.
Yeah, I've always
then.
been kind of.
So do you
yeah,
think you equate being grown up with being fully settled, like roots down, like no changes are gonna happen?
Not that, yeah, maybe, or also secure. I think maybe for me, security is the most important thing, whatever that means. It could mean, not
Family.
necessarily money, but it's like, yeah, family, where everyone that I'm close to and I love is in their lives, right, in terms of that as well.
Well, I'm glad
So-
you mentioned that because I want to skip ahead. How do you feel? What does money mean to you? How do you consider someone wealthy or rich? Is it the amount of money, the way they use their money, how they earn their money, how they gamble away their money and become richer?
I think I like money, right? I mean, I think money helps you be secure, but that's not it, right?
How do you
It's
feel
really-
about it? Is it something you'd have to? Do you live to work or work to live?
Well, right now, I mean, I need to live. I need to work for a living, right? And so, I think that's important. But I think there's other important things in life besides money, right?
Carolyn,
And-
Carolyn's
well, money
been.
makes sometimes decisions easier for you.
Exactly.
It gives you more opportunities,
It's not the greatest.
but it's not the ultimate.
It's not the ultimate greatest goal, but yeah.
Do you feel that education can help a person earn more money? Do you think education is important in the sense that if I don't go to the right school or get the right degree?
I think education is accessible to those who have money,
More accessible.
more accessible,
In this day and age,
and
for
which
sure.
makes them possibly wealthier in the future. And if they were already not wealthy to begin with,
Okay.
sustain their wealth. I don't know. I think
I always said education was the key because I taught inner city Detroit, which you know what that was like. And in my generation, you could work summers and maybe work part-time while you were taking 15 hours or 12 hours of school or whatever. And you could get through that way. We're saying you can't even do that now. I mean, I graduated and it was terrible to have a $1,000 debt.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Now you have to spend money on tests, or
The rest of your life
yeah,
to pay your
testing,
loans.
or just the testing
Oh,
alone
yeah.
to get into some schools.
Yeah.
They are taking those away potentially.
I
a lot.
heard that.
Yeah,
I heard
the
that.
LSATs, the SATs, they're making them less of a requirement because you can't do well in those standardized exams unless you're particularly gifted or you have a lot of money to spend on a tutor who will teach you how to take the exam.
Yeah,
Because it's
I
not
remember
intuitive.
taking
It's
a
not very
test.
intuitive.
Right. And
I
some
remember
people, and some
taking a
kids
test,
are.
but it was not a big deal test, and I guess it was what we're talking about to get in.
Yeah. It's just more
college.
competitive nowadays.
yeah.
I think my year of applying to college felt competitive, but it just has gotten worse. And
If you were to compare your law school experience to Yvonne's, besides the money, besides the fact that it was in, but it was both in a city, how would it have been different? And we can't use COVID or any of that as an example. How was her school experience different than your school experience?
I don't know. I think Amanda was more focused and knew really a lot more what she wanted out of life. For me, I was completely I went to law school because at the time I wasn't sure what I wanted to do right after I got out of college. So I went to law school and I wasn't as serious as I probably could have been. Things worked out really well, notwithstanding, right?
but was it intense while
I did study.
the environment of law school at the time you were there, was it?
It was competitive and it was intense. Yeah,
I
and
don't think
did
that
a-
changes.
Yeah,
It
that
was
doesn't
so
change.
competitive and intense, and I never thought I was doing enough anyways. As focused as I may have seemed, I was never doing enough because there was always someone doing more.
Well, how about the student body? I would say right off the get-go, there's more of a variety of students in her law school experience 2021.
More diversity.
More
Diversity.
women.
More women.
Oh, I noticed that at
Definitely.
graduation. I couldn't believe
Over
it.
50% women.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Loyola was probably, I shot in the dark, probably like 30-40% women.
Yeah, or no, when I went to
Even
Chicago,
less.
Kent.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
there were-
Chicago Kent. Yeah.
But there were enough women, but yeah, there were definitely more men. But I think they were a
And
good.
when I was
number
in
of women.
college, it was all men in law school.
Yeah.
I didn't know a female lawyer until the 1970s.
You know what they went? When I went to law school, and some of the women some people said that they went there to get their MRS
Yeah.
Oh,
degree.
they said that about
Which
my
is horrible.
undergrad.
Yeah, undergrad. They
And
say
I
that.
was
They'll
like,
say
really?
that. They'll say that no matter.
They're
what.
haters.
Still?
Those are just haters.
Yeah.
And
But you know, the
and
third
people
thing you
were-
didn't mention, guys, is the advent of the internet and home computing.
Oh, yeah.
You had VHS tapes if you were lucky.
No, I didn't even have a computer until I think I got out of when I was studying
Oh
for
my
Margaret.
God,
It was
yeah.
all books. I remember just studying. I was on the floor, like all my papers around
Oh
me.
my God.
What was your first job out of law school?
Orner and Wasserman. It was small, primarily like insurance
I
defense,
was gonna say, I
right?
remember
And-
insurance, yeah.
Insurance,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't the best environment, but I did that for a couple of years until I went to another firm, a smaller law firm, bankruptcy boutique firm, and
And
which
who was the partner, the owner of that
the
one?
second one, it was Ariel Weisberg and Associates.
Shout out to Ariel.
Yeah, he was
Give
a
me
great
strength,
guy.
Ariel.
Oh yeah, I'd love to like ring him up and just say, hey, how are you? Because I mean, he was a good guy.
Well, this one's on her first job. Tell me about your first law experience. Where's it at and what do you do?
I'm currently an associate at Leichman Law up in Midtown.
Manhattan.
Boutique firm as well, boutique IP litigation firm. Most
What
of
does
our
that mean, boutique?
boutique just means small.
Small.
Yeah.
Small and concentrated.
And,
yeah.
and typically concentrated in one field, and in contrast to the big law firm, big Am Law, American Law,
Yeah.
like corporate firms
I
that
see.
so.
But they also specialize. It's interesting, right? The larger firms, they
No,
just
they have practice groups that specialize, but they're generally they're representing all same flavor of people of companies.
Oh, I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
You're
Like
right.
big
Okay, that's a good
companies.
point. Yeah, you're
They
right.
don't really represent a lot of small individuals. They're never on the art. We're on the artist side. We bring down a lot of the overhead costs that the big law firms have, so you as the client are not paying for
BS.
just people
Padding it.
billing and padding their billables and all that sort of stuff.
Where are you currently working as an attorney now?
Oh, I'm at Nielsen IQ. I'm corporate.
Nielsen
doing,
IQ.
managing North America and global 13 clients.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
great. I'm happy there.
I'm going to switch gears here for a little bit. We've talked a little bit about jobs, but parenting, Mom. You've got a 57-year-old son?
Question mark.
59. How was parenting back in your day, and from what you can kind of observe from what we did with Amanda or what you've observed with other children of her generation, and then fast forward to today where everybody's got very plugged in children? It kind of, does it scare you to see a different group of kids that don't go out and play stickball
I
and
can't
climb
believe it.
trees because they're
They come home from school and they gotta either get out their computer right away or do whatever they're doing. And homework. I don't remember homework. I never had homework.
you just did it at school.
Yeah, you did it at school. You had study hall.
Homework was kind of extra.
Yeah.
The kid that wanted to do
yeah,
extra.
Yeah. But with you, Evonne has said that I raised you much more liberally or loosely or whatever term she wanted to use than she was raised. And she was first generation. I think that had a lot to do with it too, the needing to succeed or
Mhm,
wanting
absolutely.
to succeed, striving. And Michael was born in '63, so he was coming up during the '70s, the looser hippy dippy doo or whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
And
That's what it's called, hippy dippy do, I think.
That's-
So in Detroit, let's just clarify for the listeners real quick. In Detroit, in the 60s, Michael was raised. Evonne was born with a Greek family in Greece and moved here when she was 5 in
In Chicago.
1968,
Yeah.
69.
Yeah.
And Amanda was born in 1996. All of these three childhood experiences did not have cell phones, and the internet was still kind of only a thought, I think, in Amanda's generation.
I still grew up, I think, pretty detached, and then I got very attached once I
Do you
I
think
think
your
high
group
school,
is? Yeah.
college, it was more.
Do you ever talk about it with your friends that are your age? Like, hey, we were one of those kids that still
We still had to run outside and
use a
or
payphone.
sorry, run back home from outside without a cell phone, and we
Right.
still did. We did that at times until I got some sort of flip phone, and but that was just to call you guys, and
I
Yeah.
remember that.
I was
yeah.
largely independent too, and I feel like a lot of kids these days maybe aren't so much, and I don't know. I can't tell parents
like
like that.
helicopter moms
Maybe,
with
yeah.
the kids.
Next question.
Sorry.
Michael could take out his say, I'll see you Sunday, Mom. He'd get on his bike and they'd go camping.
Camping, right?
foot to
I do tell that story with
Yeah.
quarters, and
Yeah.
how do we used to do it? Call, collect, and say it's
Oh, yeah.
Jack Frost.
There would always be a clue word where you were at or what time you were going to be home or
that's funny.
something like that.
Those were our
There was much
cell
more,
phone tactics.
but it also gave you independence and how to take care of yourself and if you had a problem.
Mhm.
That the kids are taken care of. But now, on the other hand, Lynn said, I think kids get away with murder today. That's
Yeah.
what she said.
Maybe so. That's right too.
Now, I don't know the difference. Well, that our parents were, my parents were more aware of where I was aware of where he was, whether he was on his bike gone, but I knew.
Mhm.
Or where kids aren't playing like they used to.
Well, there's a lot more dangers out there. I don't know
The
if you.
dangers are terrible.
you do- it's
Maybe
It's
what
so
Lynn meant was
scary.
the more excuses. Parents are giving their kids more excuses to kind of get away with.
Could be.
Well,
So-
I don't know.
Yeah, and also they're not challenging them. Well, I don't know. I mean,
The whole like everyone gets a trophy
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
exactly
For my,
right.
at least for my
Exactly.
growing up, people say my generation, millennials. I still think I'm millennial. I don't think I'm Gen Z, right? Like I don't think
you're on the cusp.
I am on the cusp. So I think what people say about millennials is that everyone got a trophy, so everyone kind of expects like a handout, and we get,
Or has a hard time
Give them
losing,
the
or has a
benefit
hard
of the
time.
doubt.
They have a lot of general statements about generations, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
never know if they're true about. I don't think they can be true about everybody. But
Yeah, absolutely.
that's what I think they say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, guys. Well, we are cranking along here. If I was to crank a little faster and have a superpower, I think that's what I would want to do: is be able to run around the world as fast as I could.
That's a good one.
That's what I would want. But I need to know your superpower, Evonne.
Oh, I was hoping they'd be.
You're first.
No, I forgot.
What would you do with it? Would you just like run
What would
around the
my
world
super-
like me, or what?
No, what my superpower be?
Mhm.
I guess I'd want people to treat each other
More kind.
equally and with respect, like
That's a
equally.
very
That's a
Peace Corps
super
kind of
want.
answer.
No, but it's kind of true.
It's a
Like,
super
you know what
want.
I think is really unfair, right? Where you've got you. Why are gay people? Why are black people? Why are treated worse than whites? And
Differently.
and why are
Yeah.
I do well.
So maybe your
Yeah,
superpower would
different
be
words.
your superpower to
And
achieve that would
people-
be to be
Well,
able to reach the masses with your voice and not be.
open their eyes up to seeing each other as humans as opposed
We are
to
people. Yeah.
a darker skin or
Fair
something
enough.
else. That's all. Because being an immigrant, I also felt that, right? Not the same as that, right? At the same level, because it's not the same.
Uh-huh.
No, I just want people to see each other at the same level as humans, as equals. That's all.
Okay.
I
It's,
think
But
we spoke of environment last night when we were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
this. I think environmental issues,
Yeah.
that's so frightening. Whether it's an underlying frightening that we're not really acknowledging clear enough and thinking far enough ahead of us. And I think that all sits there and you don't realize how it's affecting you.
so is it making people aware, or is it doing something about
Doing
it?
something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your superpower might be you have an inhale and you can get all the pollution off the earth.
That's a great one.
No, I think that also I echo both things that you guys are saying. But maybe I watched a film recently where this woman apparently came from the future to our 2022, and what she does in her job, she works for for NASA in the future. Like there's still a world in whatever time she comes from, but it's horrible. And so what she does is she time travels back to certain time periods to change little things, ever so slightly, so it doesn't create a
Really?
crazy domino
sounds so
effect. But
cool.
what she does is she plants an idea in someone's head, caring about climate change. She's like, and that was an example she gave in the film. She's like, I did that. That's the reason why all you guys care about it, is because I went into some boardroom and said something to someone, and all of a sudden a butterfly affected.
So time
it's
travel
like
Boomerang.
was her
Boomerang,
power.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe some sort of time travel power where
Mm.
you can go make changes.
Yeah.
Go back. I mean, she was saying, like, I'm not going to go back in time and kill Hitler, because that would
Ruin
be
a lot
great
of
in the
things.
moment and be amazing, but,
Could ruin a lot
cause
of
too
other
many
things.
other domino effect
I agree.
events that you might not want to happen all. So you don't know what that could have done. It's called Long Weekend.
Ah.
It's more of a love story, but I think what I pulled from it more was like her role and her job as this
So
future, this like time hopper person.
Well, how about this? Yeah, I mean, so what kind of superpower, like, right, to treat everybody, like, with dignity, equal. Don't impose your religion, like, this whole, the hatred that people have towards each other, the politics, the political, left and right. I mean, what kind of superpower can you have to kind of get past that animosity, get past that,
I don't know.
hatred in
Not
the
be
world?
humans anymore.
Okay, Carolyn, I'm going to start with you.
My
What's
family.
important in
My
your
family.
life?
My family.
Your family.
Yeah.
Amanda, what's important in your life?
Just being happy. Every day.
Happiness?
Yeah. Not
And
just for
Evonne?
me, but yeah, for
Around you?
people around me too.
Yeah, I think just finding ways to be happy, stay happy.
Spread happiness?
Yeah,
Equanimity.
but also
happiness.
spread happiness. But really, I think it has to start from within, right? Yeah, you have to
Inside
first be
happiness.
happy.
I like that
first.
answer. Yeah.
5 years from now, I know it's tough.
I hope I'm
Asking
still
an
here.
80 some odd, a woman of a certain age.
Yes.
5 years though, it's nothing. Could
Yeah.
be
It's such a small part of my life. I just hope to be here and be able to be functionary.
and do exactly what we're doing right
Yes,
now.
and doing what,
Mm.
laughing and loving.
Doing the same
Okay.
interview maybe in 5 years.
Making things,
Yeah, oh yeah, making things, meeting new people,
telling stories.
telling stories,
Listening.
remembering.
Yeah. Anyway, so importance is family, happiness, being happy.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years? I guess was the question, right?
And then see yourself in 5 years. We
How about you, Amanda?
doing what
curious.
we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Working at Leichman? No.
No, not same job. Definitely better job, cooler job.
How do you define a better job?
Honestly, I feel like I just want to do a little bit more, like a bigger impact, do a little bit more in terms of like the substantial work I'm doing. I know we said earlier, like money's not everything, but it has been hard to survive alone in the city.
Oh yeah.
So I would like a better job in terms of pay.
Uh-huh.
That makes me feel a little less,
Pressure.
yeah, pressured. Because it has been like if I didn't have that one pressure, I feel like I would be a little bit happier. I mean, I still get to live my life and do the things that make me happy. I'm not super constrained, but yeah. And I'm maybe in 5 years a place of my own without a roommate. Simple things like this very small things.
5 years from now, you, Evonne? Anything you'd like
Yeah,
to...
I mean, I just feel like I just want to be able to kind of feel like I'm not as impatient, like slow things down, so that I can like take time to smell the coffee, so that I can, I still enjoy my work, but spend more time or be more disciplined about my writing, be more disciplined, all the things I want to do, like just be able to kind of enjoy them more. So travel, all that stuff.
I'd like to say that 5 years from now that I will know I have made a difference.
You'll be convinced
I
by
will
then.
see I have made a difference. Yeah.
Okay. If you see if someone showed you the future, though, do you think you'd really want to see it? I mean, it's-
No.
So the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, is
Yeah.
so hard, because like if you say,
Yeah.
oh, I'd like to see myself captain of the team I'm on, or the division I work in, or a lead lawyer on this case, maybe you don't. Be careful what you wish for.
Well, that's a
careful with
different,
them.
but that's different than saying where you want to see the future. I think like when you're having a job interview and they're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a very common
I know.
question that people ask.
I hate it even
They just
asking
want-
it.
I know, they just want to hear you have some sort of aspiration.
Yeah, that would say, but that's more of a-
Aspiration, acknowledgement of purpose,
Yeah,
and
of
and you said more calmness and appreciation for what you
of all this, of everything that I'm
Slowing
doing.
down
yeah.
so you can see what's happening.
Yeah, slowing down so I can see what's happening and appreciating it at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
Do you have somebody, an artist, a writer, or a politician, somebody that you admire, or somebody you grew up with that you admire, a teacher?
Oh yeah, I have a teacher. You know that.
Let's hear it.
Elsie Schlussel. The year I met Rosie, my longest time friend, and we had woman teacher, elementary, third, and then she tracked with us. Then she went to fourth grade with us, and then she went to fifth grade with us. And I don't know why she made such an impact on my life. She made it okay for girls to raise their hand in math class. That was one thing.
She encouraged that.
Because in my day, you waited for the boys to raise their hand and get the right answer, and if they didn't get the right answer, then it was your turn.
That's pretty.
And she was very equal, the equality.
Yeah.
She taught, she made me, or because of her, I love books. Reading was really important, so you got your work done so you could have some free reading. And she always had a shelf of books, and she would go to the library and get them for us.
Did you work your way all the way down the shelf?
Well, then she had to try to before she returned them to the library. I just look back at her and how devoted she was to all of us kids, because there were 30 of us in the class, probably it was post-war. I went back and found her at the cemetery.
So you found her,
Yeah.
how long did she
I
live?
put the stone on her. God got that very long, and she was a miss for almost her whole life.
So
And then
safe
she
to-
got married. She was a champion, bridge champion. she had a life after teaching, let's just say that. I was also thinking when I didn't finish that whole idea, which was that my cousin, who was a boy cousin, male cousin, was 2 years ahead of me. He was so smart, and later had an international career in physics and math. He made it okay. People expected me to be smart following him, even though I was a female cousin. You know, they'd say, "Oh, your cousin Richard? Your brother with Richard? No, he's my cousin."
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're as smart as he is. And so it made it okay to be smart. And that was real important to know as a young female in the 40s, yeah.
You might have an influence coming up. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know, yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of my mentors aren't women, which is unfortunate. My, like, legal mentors who are men in the music law world that, you know, I was trying to break into, or I'm trying to still, like, be
But that's
in.
really important. I think that's great that you have those
I've got good
relationships.
mentors, but they just happen to be men, and that's just, you know,
You still have
it's still
it's still early
you
for
know,
you.
it can turn around and you can mentor somebody else, and that becomes a very important person
She's
in your life.
she's mentoring
Well,
somebody.
in your life,
Yeah.
and just the experience of teaching
Doing
someone
that,
and
yeah.
seeing them succeed.
Yeah, I guess to this question though, it's just who do you admire, right? Anyone at like of great importance in like society, I just admire calm people who can get things done without, you know, I don't know. I just admire like certain qualities in people that like
Quality.
that
All right.
I like and hope to one day emulate.
Did you always want to be an attorney? Did you grow up saying, I'm going to be a doctor?
No, I think I always said what I used to say a lot was I wanted to work like Nat Geo and be a photographer for National Geographic.
Travel the world, go to...
Once I got over what everyone else was saying at my age, like I want to be an actor, I want to be a singer, blah blah blah. I would say I actually thought Nat Geo was really cool because I would get the magazines shipped, mailed to us, and I thought that the photos were really cool and saw that people got to travel and go in helicopters and.
Did you have a fantasy job when you were a kid?
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually at some point I wanted to be either a judge. I don't know how I came up with that because I think I like the idea of like synthesizing information, getting this information done. You know, it's not exactly, and then kind of coming up with a decision or whatever. I like that, I guess. Or a tennis player. You know, like in terms of admiring people. Yeah, I was thinking also people that I looked up to in a way too, or I can today. Like admiring is, I've always admired Jim Lahiri. She's that writer that I love. She's this Indian writer. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was her because she came from India, moved to London, whatever. And then ultimately the U.S. and wrote this book, Interpreter of Maladies. It's a brilliant book.
Would you like to meet her someday?
Yeah. What Jumta did also is when she was in her 30s or 40s, maybe she was a little younger than me, she moved to Italy with her husband, which is like so cool. She didn't even speak Italian, right? She's Indian, you know, of Indian descent. So I thought I admire that. I mean, she's kind of cool. But sometimes now, as I get older, I really admire like what my mom did. Like she came from another country. She had her mom died when she was 10.
Scary
she had
thing.
to raise herself. She had to help around the house. She was a ball buster, man. She came to the United States. She worked at night in the factory. My dad was awesome and brilliant, but like she was really a force to be dealt with.
Like Vince's mom,
you know,
grandma.
You know, she did that and she cared for us. She was wacky, but still, it's kind of cool. That strength, right? That strength.
What did you want to be when you were a child? Did you say I'm going to be?
We didn't have choices. You were supposed to grow up and get married when you were 18. That was it. And it was like, you could be a secretary for a while.
Right, yeah. You didn't have like a big dream.
No.
But
reading, I've talked to Karen, my friend Karen, who's a Fulbright scholar, and I said, what? She comes from a farm. They didn't even have plumbing in the farm. And I said, what made it different for us to, and we both agreed, reading books and seeing other worlds through books. So you had an idea that you weren't so proscribed into a box maybe as society was trying to do to us. And because she didn't get married till she was in her 33, 34. She didn't have her first kid till she was 37.
Wow.
We were talking about that the other, Tristan. And we were talking about that the other day. Oh my gosh, how different was that? She went to Europe and lived for 2 years and got her doctorate and all that stuff, But all that from just reading books and seeing another way of doing things that was possible that we weren't being told.
But you've had a non-traditional life too, right? So I think that's pretty interesting as well, right?
Yeah. Be an artist and have your own art gallery for 40 years in the mountains. Oh my God!
We did mention that in the intro, but if you could see around here and all the detail and artwork and various things that they've collected over the years, it is a museum. It is it's a living gallery. They do sell right out the front porch there. For 40 some years you've been doing that, and that's a testament. You never thought that as a child I'm going to own an art gallery and be an artist.
God. I didn't even think of it as an adult.
But kids these days are probably that's an option for them.
Yeah,
think about
that's
that.
an option.
I want to curate a gallery or whatever.
Yeah.
With
It
a lot of
wasn't
these,
until I met Vince, because he had grown up in an art family with his both parents artists, and he said to me, when you introduce yourself and say, I'm an artist. Don't say, I'm an art teacher. I'm an artist, because I was trying to do both of them at the same time. And
So that's
pretty
what they
soon
say.
you started to convince
That's right.
yourself you could do it.
That's what they say. You have to visualize it. Visualize
Yeah.
your success or what you want to do, and that might be something. I mean, like I try to do that for myself. I always forget. You just reminded me that that's how you can achieve what you want.
And
And
that
get
Visualize it.
over the hump of that imposter syndrome that people
that's a
like.
good
Oh,
term.
I'm an attorney, but I half the time don't think I'm like, no way. I'm not. Like, this is crazy. I'm like an imposter in this body, and I'm like, what? Who
I'm
put
an
me here?
attorney?
Yeah. But you just have to like keep convincing yourself, like I am. Like,
Yeah, you are. You have so much to offer. You're compassionate, brilliant. Just you are such a problem solver, and
She is. She always
and-
was a
and-
problem solver as a little girl.
Yeah, and compassionate at the same time.
Yeah.
so a lot of these questions have taken us down this subject matter of men and women trying to work in the same environment. What's the difference between me and you guys? What is
You
it?
got bigger muscles and you're taller.
No, that's not even fair. I know a lot of women that could take me, in a
The
heartbeat.
opportunities to this day, the opportunities are not equal. I don't think.
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
Okay.
still pay gap.
The equality, without a doubt, is still. The soccer team just got their righteous pay. I heard.
I heard that.
That's
Yeah.
The
very-
women's, yeah.
It was 59 cents on a dollar when I was coming through in the 70s with feminism starting. Now I think it's up to 70-some cents on a dollar. That's not enough, fast
amazing.
enough for women to live without men. I mean, if their husbands.
I've never been afraid to ask for more money though.
I know,
I've
but-
done it.
But again, the
I'm
subject
not
is going
talking about
back
you. I'm
to.
talking about the average.
No, but I'm just
man.
saying, yeah. But you're right. But you know what it is. But men are they're built differently, not just physically. I mean, testosterone, right? So you have a different approach to life.
You're talking
Right.
biology?
Biology that change, it impacts your behavior, right? I mean, hormones.
They do say men's brains develop slower
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not as smart as what
they
women's
fully
can.
develop at a way later. They fully develop at a way later
Yeah.
age. That's I think is a true statement that the men in my life at my age are far less mature than I am.
It's maturity that is.
But it's also
hormones.
like it's so per person. Like I could meet.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about Grandpa meeting him when you were in your 30s, and
Yeah.
he was more mature than some people, and he's
That
10 years
I knew-
younger.
Yeah, that I knew or older.
So like I just don't think that's a fair like this. It's just like I guess it's because coming from my generation, like not seeing things so binary and so black and white. Like, it's not. This is not an easy or like simple question
It's
anymore
not a
because
simple
gender
question,
lines are just so blurred and.
I've said
And it's
though
great.
that I mean,
Right?
as difficult as it was for females,
Yeah.
equality and money and et cetera, law and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
how it was with men that they had to perform a certain way and be the head of the household and make a lot of money in the 40s, 30s, 20s, whatever year you want to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that was unfair to men too, to the expectations that society was putting on men,
Yeah.
that they could wonder if they wanted to be an artist, so what?
Right. Because then that bred some toxic
Yeah.
masculinity
Yeah.
that has like
Yeah.
still seeped into our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like the way, like some men are still told like you can't cry and you can't act
Yeah,
this
yeah,
way.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to be
You can't
quote
dance.
unquote manly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever that means anymore, just like that's so. Yeah. I think that's becoming less and less.
Yeah, I think it's becoming less and less,
But-
but it too is not gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, will all be so equal except biologically?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look back on the way the Wild Kingdom is too, the man is very lazy. Like you said, he develops later, and like sometimes the female even kills him after they have procreation. So, in my mind, the woman is going to be the one that takes over the earth pretty
We're
soon.
talking about
Mother,
that
mother.
men are becoming less and less and women are becoming more and more.
We're overpowering.
Well, it's just been now so proven that everybody's equal. Our ideas are all the same, or as good as the next.
Yeah.
It's not, well, you're a woman, your idea is horrible, get out of here. Now it's everybody's kind of got the seat at the table, and once the table gets more and more filled with women, the men are going to realize how powerless we
Well,
are.
because they had it easy. Yeah, easy in that sense.
Can't give birth,
Yeah.
don't know how to raise children without help.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Honestly, if you're a man and you're raising a child, that you're a
On your own.
Superman.
Yeah.
Because
Just gotta
you,
do a lot of research.
you gotta do a lot of research.
It's not instinct. You just don't have that.
But is that
There's another
conditioned
instinct, right?
response? Is that
Yeah, that might be conditioned. I
Yeah,
think maybe.
conditioned.
Yeah.
Right, like
I
you
think
can-
so. It's different from the women. The women are, I guess.
They hunt,
Have
they
more-
raise the children, they make the nest.
Yeah.
What does the
Okay.
guy do?
All right.
He comes around once a
Is
year.
it our interview or who's
Yeah, I
your
know. I
interview?
was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Next question.
That's what guys
You're
do.
doing.
There's something testosterone. It's really that.
What do you
that
call
they
that?
tend to want to like
Take
kind
over.
of take over. Yeah, and women are not. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's the
This group of
hormonal.
women
There's a
can,
hormonal.
does.
Because it
can
used to
do.
be matriarchal society and religion and everything
Yeah, and
else.
it's different. And you can be
And
loud.
how did
and
it
not,
get switched?
What do you mean? What?
How did
Oh,
what-
Well, the women.
Oh no, religion I've always learned was patriarchal.
No, before, older than
Like-
old. I'm talking about witchcraft.
Oh,
All that stuff
yeah,
way
yeah.
back
Modern
then.
times, it's
Yeah.
definitely revolves
And
around
modern
patriarchy.
times meaning after Jesus? Or
Yeah, well, all the priests, they're all the male priests. They all think that
And
they're.
they won't
yeah.
let women become priests. It was a matriarchal society, and still some societies are matriarchal.
I want to ask you, so we're talking way back history. Has there been a historical event that has changed or made a huge impression on your life? Carolyn, start with you.
Gosh, that's one I have to think about, and I didn't
get-
get to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm saying when Kennedy died, that was just horrible. That suddenly,
You were 23?
24, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Can you
You
imagine?
were born then, but I'm saying suddenly, your politics or these people were vulnerable. Suddenly, they were vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and because they were vulnerable, our society or
Mm-hmm.
country was shaky.
Influx. Yeah,
Yeah,
influx.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
influx,
Yeah.
the influx of it.
I'll probably always say 9/11. Even
Oh,
no matter how
9/11.
old I am, I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
probably is the biggest historical.
That was the worst day of my
event.
life. That's what I say. That's the worst day of my life. Not knowing where you guys were, if you were safe.
Yeah, for me, 9/11 as well.
Same across the
From,
board.
yeah, in terms of like an event. That,
And actually,
yeah,
so personally affected us. Like I feel like
we were there.
I know a lot of people. I always harp on this, but a lot of people say like people who are way more like unconnected or way less connected to
Yeah.
it than all of us. We're like
Yeah.
you had family there, like we were there. Like some people who just were
Say they were in New York, but they
no,
were up in
or
Harlem.
even or New York or up. I mean, no, or just in Texas and they saw it on TV and they'll say that was the worst day of my life. I'm like, really? It was the worst day of your life?
Yeah.
I'm so you're yeah. I
Well,
just
yeah.
Well,
it upsets me a little bit.
Well, let's stay in the dark side here. What scares you then? What scares you?
I don't know.
Buildings falling down? Terrorism? No.
I don't know if it's affected me to be scared of that, like, so
after a while, there's so many other things happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like at a baseline, I'm scared of the dark and being alone.
Dark.
I don't like being alone at the apartment a lot. And not for like, I don't think anyone's gonna break in and hurt me. I just like, I don't know. Just don't like it.
You feel vulnerable. Or
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not a fear. It's just like I just don't like being
alone.
Yeah.
Or at least
Yeah.
Do you have a fear?
Well, illness, getting sick.
Yeah.
Terminally ill?
Yeah, of course.
Just the flu.
And not just me, but others. My loved ones, obviously too.
Illness. Yeah.
Yeah, illness.
No, my fear was our house was broken into when I was a kid, and I got up, 5 years old to go to the bathroom and went back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, oh my gosh, what had happened, and I had scared him away, is what the police figured.
Ah.
So
he took things, or he didn't take things.
Yeah, he stole from my family's house, and I think being alone when Vince would take off for Illinois and be gone for 2 weeks, if I'd hear a noise at night, I'd feel very nervous.
Yeah.
So make sure all the blinds were down.
I hate noises.
Like that, the unexplained thing. And it wasn't that I was scared when this happened, it was after.
Yeah, that
I
makes
realized,
sense. But that does make sense.
That it had happened.
Yeah. I feel more unsafe in places of like intense darkness and nature actually than I do in the city when there's people around. I mean, I don't know. We have a doorman in our building. I feel safe there, like whatever.
Yeah.
I feel unsafe in like a home. Like I don't know if I'm
like our place in Milford.
Yeah, oh my god, I do.
I get the creeps there.
I hate being in Milford alone or even just with my friends, and I'm the one in charge. If I'm the one who's like brought all my friends out to that house,
and they're all sleeping,
and
you get woken up, and you're like,
and then I can't go back to sleep. Or I'm like, oh, where's the axe? Where's the bat?
Well,
but I don't want to actually have to do it.
When you said, Michael, that that also made you scared, I tried to do the opposite, psych myself into not being scared when I was there alone. I don't know, and it kind of worked, but in a way, I just tried to not be scared, and and I pretended not to be scared, and then I wasn't scared.
And when I was living in Freeport, we never locked our doors, and my brother came from New York to visit, and he said, well, where's your key or something? I said, well, the door's open. You didn't lock your doors? And he was on me about locking doors. And suddenly, he said, remember the Clutter family in Kansas was, Robert Blake, that movie. After that, then I got nervous.
You need just something like that. Yeah.
Do you have 3 words to describe you, Carolyn Tolpo?
Compassion. Caring is the same as compassionate, I guess.
Caring, compassion is the same.
Empathy. I put my feet in other people's shoes, and I try to solve their problems all the time. And Vince says in the gallery, you're always solving people's problems. You're finding housing for them or a contact for them and putting people together. Compassion.
3 words.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I thought about this a little earlier, but goal-oriented, because I am very goal-oriented.
You're taking 2 words out of your 3 for that.
No, that's one word.
It's a hyphenated.
I don't know.
Goal-oriented.
Goal-oriented. I don't know. I forgot my second one now. Goal-oriented.
Driven.
I guess I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty driven. Yeah.
You can both say the same word.
Driven. Like sometimes.
You're her daughter, so you can be as driven or more driven.
Yeah, and I want. Yeah, and I like. Not that things to be perfect, but I like things to be in their place. Let's just put it that way.
Organization.
Yeah. Although I'm not always the first one to do the dishes, let's say, or make my bed, but I like things organized because I feel my brain gets, the dyslexia or something kicks in.
Dyslexia helps you focus forward rather than side.
Yeah, but I think the goal-oriented and kind of, driven pretty much, I guess. But goal-oriented the most. Yeah. I like setting my goal and then doing it. Or having people, you promise something, you want to stick to it. Or if you can't keep that promise, you want to let the other person know. Like I'm kind of weird that way.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to boil this down to one word, but wanting to bring people, amongst my friends, I'm kind of known as the person who likes to bring people together, whether it be for a trip out to Milford or just I like to.
You're a planner.
Scheduled. I'm a scheduled planner.
Yeah, you are totally
driven and.
You're very driven.
I think. And I don't know.
You're such an amazing friend.
And considerate. I think considerate is a good word for if I'm trying to think of one for.
Empathetic.
Yeah, you're very
empathetic.
Yeah, you're very empathetic, and you're just a really great friend, I think.
Yeah. I think I am too. Yeah.
Well, you-
I try to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
If,
I try
if
to
you
be
were
really
someone else, you'd want yourself to be friends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think so too.
This has been wonderful. I'm so glad you were able to host this, Carolyn, bringing us
welcome.
together.
I'm glad you were here.
And quite frankly, I think we're going to do it again sometime. What do you think?
Yes, we should do it with the
Absolutely.
guys too.
Something.
So on that note, if I was to write a Hallmark card for this episode of Over It, I would say, Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, and
Όλα ακούγονται μαύρα και άραχνα.